Ready? 2, 1, cue.
Welcome, this is Breaking the News, the only news report produced and delivered by students. My name is Lauren Bolson.
And I'm Jaspreet Dhaliwal. Over the last 8 weeks, students from 10 schools over the country aged between 15 to 18 have been working for Breaking the News to bring this special report to you tonight.
Go for.
This is the story of how that special report was made and how you too can run a Breaking the News day with your students.
You're telling one person this story, one person a million times.
In this groundbreaking media literacy project, students at a selected group of schools and colleges had the opportunity to make their own TV news bulletin. They made original feature items and edited news stories using raw footage, rushes, from ITN. They had followed a specially tailored course aimed at students of 14 and over, which is available to all on the Channel 4 website, which is where the bulletin appeared. At the project launch meeting at ITN, the teachers involved were introduced to the course and to their journalist mentors. They then had only 8 weeks to deliver the 4-module course and prepare for Breaking the News Day.
We're making the news, OK? We're going to produce a news bulletin and we're going to learn about the whole kind of theory that goes behind it. So what we're going to do today, we're going to use...
At the Grays School Media Arts College in Essex, Media Studies teacher Sean Delaney is delivering the course to 15 students as an after-school activity.
We've got students from both years 10 and 11. They are currently doing that for their Media Studies coursework project, GCSE, which fits in very nicely as part of the 4 components, one of which has to be the moving image, and this works perfectly with that.
The whole point about narrative is it's about telling a story. And if you just take a look up here at the screen at the moment, there's a structure to everything that we watch on the news. And we're not watching something that's just made up on the hoof. It's all been put into place very carefully. And it's come together over the years. OK, guys, take a look at the sheets.
For today's discussion about narrative in television news, Sean is using some worksheets from the website.
First off, what do we mean by hard news? Anyone like to offer up an answer to that question? What is hard news?
Kind of big stories.
Big stories. Soft news. What's soft news?
Stuff like football reports. Film premieres.
Film premieres. Brilliant, yeah. How would you...
When it was presented to me, I was full of the joys of spring because I'd just come back after the summer break, so I was ready to go. Yeah, scaling the mountain range in Nepal wouldn't have been too much of an issue. But no, I mean, once you get down to it and you realise, but I'm just really pleased that the actual project and all the products associated with it are really quite easy and user-friendly.
The course consists of theoretical and practical work. The first practical task is to produce a local news story.
So you want something that is possibly controversial. You want something that lends itself to good pictures.
Judy Aslett, a television news journalist, is working with the GCSE students at Grays School. They're brainstorming ideas for their local news story. They plump for an item about the State Building, an Art Deco cinema that's become a local landmark.
When Morrison's first started speaking about opening up a supermarket in Grays, asking for a plot of land, the council said that they could if they renovated the State Building, if they took the State Building on with it. And nothing so far has been done with it. I mean, they've been there two or 3 years.
Excellent idea. Who would you want to interview?
Someone from Morrison's, someone quite high up the hierarchy. So
someone from Morrison's, okay.
Yeah.
So how do you go about getting the interviews for this story?
Contact the press office.
Okay, who else? Anyone else? What else?
Public.
Yeah, exactly. The general public around Grays. Okay, now in terms of picture, because this is TV, what sort of pictures are you looking at?
You could do a panning shot from Morrison's to the State Building because they're literally next to each other.
Are they? So you can actually, okay, yeah, you could do that. So you get a location shot. Okay, that's a good idea.
I was thinking about a shot from the actual inside. It's meant to be incredible. As you walk in, there's meant to be a big chandelier on the main entrance. It's all meant to be made of marble. It sounds quite interesting.
So you've got good pictures for television. Superb.
Judy, who's a professional journalist and our mentor in school for this project, but I think there are still very good ways to use what we've got without having the necessary input of a mentor. As nice as it is, it's still a resource that can be used without having that backup.
The call goes out for 2 presenters who will anchor the Breaking the News bulletin at ITN. The Grays students audition, coached by Judy and Sean.
Indonesian authorities are trying to identify 3 suicide bombers who killed 22 people in Bali.
don't cross your arms like that. Again, shoulders square and just relax your hands on the desk.
3, 2, 1.
Police are examining video footage taken by tourists at the bar where the bomb went off.
That's better. Your eyes were looking at me. Try to yeah, I know, it makes you look shifty when you do that. Try and be more relaxed. You're telling one person this story, one person a million times, not a million people, okay? So it's quite intimate.
When I look at presenters on TV, you think, oh, that's easy. Like, they're getting all this money for doing this. It's not. It's hard.
The tapes are sent to Channel 4 News, where the final selection will be made. 4 weeks to go until Breaking the News Day, and the students have to master another skill. Using an online video sequencing tool available on the Channel 4 website, they must edit and script a news story about avian flu from rushes supplied by ITN.
There's loads and loads of shots on here, from people in hospital to experts. First thing first, go through them all and get into your head what kind of things you've got on there to use, and then we'll start thinking about turning that into a news story. Oh look, she's at a computer with a mask on. Why would that make a good shot for our news story?
Some people will be like quite scared about what's going to happen in that. That's just going to freak everyone out though.
Now notice that you've only got one interview. Why have you not chosen the person representing the government who is defending the government's position? Do you think it's worth considering?
Yeah, just to get two opinions.
Absolutely. So that in that way we avoid what?
Biased opinions.
Right.
Yeah. We've got flu shots.
This is a dry run for Breaking the News Day itself, when the students will be working to tight deadlines.
We've got about 27 minutes to get your script, to get it all finished.
Let the picture breathe for 2 seconds before you start reading, and read much slower than you usually do.
Office workers in London are showing signs of worry and panic, with white masks as a protection to avoid this major threat. We spoke to Sir Keith Peters to hear his views on the quality of protection.
Well, I think the current rules under which the health service manages affairs have to be rewritten.
What the children get out of it is just phenomenal, it really is, because they learn how to put a script together with footage, and that is just fantastic, because they're actually learning the process of newsmaking, and they're also learning how to use their literacy skills in a real-life situation.
2 weeks to go to Breaking the News Day, and the students have made progress with their story about the State Building. They have arranged to film an interview with a local councillor. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to forget the first rule of filmmaking.
Thank you. Press record, yeah?
I thought it was recorded.
Thanks for telling me.
Was you not recording that?
Yes.
So, take 2.
What do you know about the development of the State Building?
I've seen no evidence to suggest that Morrison's have any plans to open the building to the public.
The project's been really useful in terms of literacy skills. They've developed an understanding of the fact that written matter isn't there just to be read, it's there to be heard. And they've had to practice speaking to the camera, they've had to practice speaking to people on telephones and in interview situations, camera face to face. So all round it's been a really enlightening experience, and it's the kind of skills that can be transferred across all subjects in school, but especially English and citizenship.
So I think we should just listen to that, see what it says.
When all the material has been filmed, 2 of the students edit the story using iMovie software.
We go to the Vox spots, see what other Vox spots we could have.
No, it's sort of part of it, Thurrock, and something useful like that, really.
No, we don't want that. No. I found it very interesting. Found out a lot of facts that I didn't know before about the state, like what it used to be like inside. It used to be like a fantastic place to go, the cinema. It was also quite hard to do, the project, putting it all together and arranging all the interviews and things like that. But it was really interesting to do, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Kathy Kent, a local councillor for the area, says she thinks responsibility does lie with Morrison.
Then the finished story is shown to Sean and Judy.
I haven't seen any evidence of Morrison's preserving the cinema for the public of Thurrock.
We asked Morrison's for an interview to find out what their plans were for the State Building. They still declined.
The pan from the State Building to Morrison's was a really nice pan. Some of the shots there were great, and the interviews were really good. And in fact, we did get out of, frankly, a very difficult story to crack. I think you really got the elements that reworked would have made a nice little package. Your piece of camera was great, you have a future.
But will the story be selected for the Breaking the News bulletin? The day before breaking the news day, 10 students arrive at ITN to prepare the final bulletin.
Welcome to ITN and Channel 4 News.
Within no time, they are working together with the ease of seasoned professionals. Laura, a Year 10 student, represents the Grace School.
The programme that we're making is 30 minutes long, and as I said, it's your programme, you're the decision makers.
Channel 4 News producer Nina Harrison briefs the students on what to expect. She's leading a group of journalists on hand to support the students, who are split into small editorial teams. Each team is tasked with a vital role in creating the finished bulletin, from researching studio guests to selecting the lead story.
The deadline for our programme to be completely finished and ready to be transmitted is 5 o'clock tomorrow.
Okay, so I'm going to get you to sit here, and this is where we're going to record the links from. While you're sitting there, you'll be able to...
The two students chosen as presenters, Lauren Balsam and Jasprit Dhaliwal, are introduced to reading autocue in the Channel 4 News studio.
2, 1, cue.
Here are the news headlines for today, the 2nd of December 2015. The wiring of Britain has reached 98%. It's quite difficult, actually. It's you don't really know what to do with yourself. I'm wondering where I have to put my hands.
Ready? 2, 1, cue. Here are the news headlines for today, 2nd of December 2015. The Labour Party is changing its name to LUK. Community spirit reaches a new high according to statistics from Britain's eBay clubs.
In the newsroom, the discussion to decide which local stories will make it into the bulletin is led by student editor Gurpreet Bilan from the Chadwell Heath Foundation School in Essex.
What we're going to do now is that we're going to watch all the local stories that all the schools have submitted, and at the end of it we need to pick two VT packages. If we look at the first one from the Chadwell Heath Foundation School, and it's about bus tagging.
We spoke to a local youngster who wanted to give his side of the story.
Yeah, buses aren't easy to target. You mean like you're on, you're off, simple.
What I particularly liked about that piece was the use of the silhouetted person. Well, that was very clever. It's actually, you know, it was very well done as well.
Thomas Adams Local, and the story is of hunting.
I was going to say, yeah, great filming, and the framing was excellent all the time, and I liked the shot of the low angle where the dogs were around in the kennels.
Then it's the story from the Grays School.
But at the moment, everyone appears to be equivocating. This is disheartening for citizens of Grays, as everyone wanted the state reopened. As for now, a place which was once the centre of the community stands empty.
I like the use of photos because it was stated that they can't go inside to see it, so the way they've showed the photos to link it in and the way it zooms in and zooms out, I thought that was really effective. So we need to make a decision now of the two that we're going to actually have as full VT packages. So the bus tagging story, who wants that?
The students vote on it.
The hunting story. So we decided on two, yeah? Hunting and bus tagging. Yeah? Everyone happy?
So the Grays School local story didn't make it. But what about the feature story using ITN rushes and their own footage?
We're going to be watching the feature stories, and we need to choose a Green Britain story and
antisocial behaviour
story.
This time the Grays School has better luck with a news feature about teenage pregnancy, which is chosen. Their story wins out because they have added a new angle to the story, the reality baby.
The students that I've been working with will be really pleased that our baby story has been chosen for a main feature because we worked really hard on it. We spent a lot of time out of school working on it, so I reckon when I tell them they're going to be really pleased. It's paid off in the end. Tomorrow should be a really good day. It's going to be busy, but we've got some good stories and things to run.
8 a.m. on the day itself at ITN headquarters, 9 hours to deadline.
Guys, if you want to come over and we'll have our morning editorial meeting.
One of the crucial tasks of the day is to produce an on-the-day lead story.
What we've decided to pick for our main feature story is the energy story, which is quite big today because Tony Blair's speaking about it at 9:30 this morning. So it gives us good timing. We can send out rushes to school when they can get a good news report.
Are we talking about nuclear power in it because of what Tony Blair's saying? Because we could ask people on the streets if they think more nuclear power stations.
that is our main focus, that is the main lead story, but then...
All the participating schools will make a version of this story, but only one will be chosen for the final bulletin.
How's the studio discussion topic going?
We're doing the 150th anniversary of the package holiday. It's today, so we're just going to try and get some people in from the travel industry to talk about that.
Could we do like vox pops of the nuclear story, but then also do some vox pops about the discussion?
If one wasn't successful, one set, we could just use the other.
Everything's got to be scripted and written by 1 o'clock because we've got a lawyer coming to read it. But the deadline for everything is 5 o'clock, so we need to get going.
Okay, what I'm doing is sending an email out to all the schools, letting them know what today's story is going to be, and that the rushes are going to be on their way in a few minutes.
At Grays and the other schools across the country, students are waiting to hear what the on-the-day story will be.
Right, guys, just draw your attention to the email that's just come through, because we've been told that the story is all about energy, and we've got to use the eSeek tool to turn it into something that we can broadcast.
Using the online eSeek tool, they will edit their story from rushes fed through at intervals from ITN. The schools must submit their completed stories by 2 o'clock.
Think about arguments, pros and cons. Anyone got any ideas on how this might develop?
Whether to build power stations or not.
Right, thanks Rebecca, absolutely. So let's see what the rushes are showing us. Nothing.
As the time ticks away, at ITN they're having technical problems.
We can't record any video at the moment. We're getting 1 frame rather than a full 10 seconds worth, so it's not a problem we've seen. So.
While the search for the gremlin goes on, the schools are put in the picture.
No, it's definitely not you. And if it's going to be much longer, then I'm going to call you or send another email to keep you all informed. But it's definitely us.
At the Grays School, they're not wasting the time. They are researching nuclear energy on the internet.
Are you for it or against it, though? How do you feel about it?
You've got to give a balanced argument.
Yeah, good.
Oh, they've uploaded.
They're uploaded?
Yeah.
I'm going to send an email saying they're there then.
Yeah.
Right.
Finally, an hour and a half late, the first rushes arrive. At last, they can start editing their story.
Excuse me, madam. Can I ask a few questions for the channel?
Meanwhile, in the street outside ITN, a team of students is attempting to interview passers-by with varying degrees of success.
What do you think of package holiday?
They're all right. They got their place, I suppose. I've never been on one. I'm inclined to organise my own holiday.
Just quick, 30 seconds.
And nuclear energy?
Fossil fuels are causing too much climate change, and so long as nuclear power is managed safely, then I think it's acceptable.
Back in the newsroom, the energy story has taken an unexpected turn. Greenpeace protesters have disrupted Tony Blair's speech. Martin Fuel, deputy editor of Channel 4 News, drops by to see how Gurpreet and Laura are responding to this new development.
Yeah, we're going with the energy story about the energy review story that Tony Blair did the speech on this morning.
And what do you think was the most interesting news element of it? Because we knew he was going to make the speech, and we were talking about it yesterday even. So, what are you going to use perhaps to hook your viewers with from that?
Bit about the Greenpeace protesters disrupting the conference.
People like that do protest all the time deliberately to get publicity. So are you falling into their trap by allowing them to have lots of airtime, would you say?
Yeah, we probably are. But they've made a good point, because you need to know that the bad effects of nuclear power. You can't just have Tony Blair just stating that, we should have nuclear power.
Okay, well, good luck. We'll watch it later on. Okay.
The next set of rushes have just come through about protesting about nuclear power and stuff, so we just got to break it down and put it into the sequencer and make it up now. I think they are good rushes, but I think we need some interviews of other people's opinions.
I'm going to make my sequence first by selecting certain rushes from which Channel 4 have sent me, edit them into smaller clips which will go together, and then put the script to a clip so that it suits the clip, and then it runs through fluently. And it is quite difficult to do.
I need some quotes from Tony Blair.
Yeah, but we've got no images of Tony Blair yet. We want a picture of him talking.
We do.
Yeah.
We are waiting for that particular link to come through.
If they don't send it, we'll have to use a quote, obviously, won't we?
So what you can do, you can count the number of words. You speak at about 3 words per second. So count how many words you want of all the different sequences, and then we'll get the edit together.
We really must get cracking because we've got just over half an hour now.
At ITN, Gurpreet's feeling the pressure too. The ITN lawyer, John Battle, is checking her script.
Can you give me some more details on that?
He had to reschedule the conference. He had to go into another room because of them being on the roof.
And are you certain that they're Greenpeace demonstrators?
They were.
Are you sure about that?
It said it was on the sign that they had, and the Greenpeace
Okay.
was
Have they made any
underneath.
statement during the course of the day?
They've made it on ITV. They had a Greenpeace spokesman.
Okay, so
Couldn't
there's no
listen to
dispute on the facts.
Yeah,
because
it
clearly
is
if you were
Green- it
making
is
the
Greenpeace.
allegation and the facts were not clear, they would need to be properly checked.
Time's up now, and we're going to have to decide which one we're going to send. Okay, so we're going to get together, have a look at them on the screen, and decide which one we think's the one that we want to represent our school.
Greenpeace protesters arrived well before the Prime Minister to launch their protest. Some climbed up into the rafters of the conference hall while some threw confetti. They were protesting about the government's plans to build more nuclear power plants.
Brilliant, well done. I think we can say that was the most polished example we've had today.
The story is submitted to ITN. Will it be chosen for the final bulletin?
Well done, guys.
Good luck. Thank you.
In the studio, the big moment has arrived.
Just feeling a bit nervous, but ready to go now. Very ready. Can't wait to start it.
I've got butterflies in my belly. Before I was really confident now because everyone's here and I feel so nervous.
So 2, 1, 0. Just coming out to camera 4, so look at each other. Go 4.
My name is Lauren Bolton.
Cut, cue jazz.
And I'm Jasper Dallowell. Of the last 8 weeks, students from 10 schools of the country aged between 15 to 18 have been working for Breaking the News to bring this news report to you tonight.
Cue on.
Greenpeace protesters disrupted the Prime Minister's long-awaited speech on energy review today after protesters took to the roof of the CBI conference hall, where the speech was expected to take place.
Green protesters disrupted the Prime Minister's long-awaited speech on energy reviews today. Boom, straight away. So you're hitting them right between the eyes with it.
And 1, cue on.
Tony Blair was made to relocate to a nearby room. The Prime Minister said nothing concrete about the future of a nuclear Britain.
Thank you.
Back over to Jaspreet now for some more of today's other news.
Go 4, cue.
Next up in the studio should be a discussion about package holidays, but the team has hit a problem. 2 guests have been booked, but only 1 has arrived.
We're waiting for a phone call. I mean, it's 3:15 now, and the other guy from the Independent who's waiting in reception at the moment wants to leave at 3:30, so we've got 15 minutes to play with, so it's going to be quite a tight deadline if we get this. I have spoken to my guest, and he is in a taxi on the way here, so hopefully he won't be too late.
I'm really sorry to make a fuss, but I did have to leave 5 minutes ago for a live, and if we're not in a position to go, I just need to go and then come back. When everyone is
What can we
ready.
do?
Say it's up to him. If he wants to go now, he can go.
Try and get him to come back.
Do you
because he said he
go
can
and
come
say
back.
that, don't make the presenters do it.
He can come.
Molly's going
Get
to
him to come back.
Well,
at
we
4.
might. No, we won't have time to record.
Thankfully, the guest agrees to stay just long enough.
Okay, let's just go for it then and see what happens.
Joining us now to discuss this is Tony Hopkins, author of the Thomas Cook Report, Simon Calder, travel editor from the Independent newspaper.
Okay, to both of you, what is the future for package holidays? Could it be another 150 years of celebration?
I would say yes, obviously.
Well, I reckon that actually the package holiday, as we're seeing it at the moment, is probably on its last legs in terms of flying people to the beaches of Spain. Because if you've been down there, you can't move for apartments and villas being built, and that's being built largely for British people who don't need any more a package holiday. They just need a cheap flight down to their place in the sun.
Perfect. Thank that guest very much. That was really kind of him.
Thank you. Thanks very much, both of you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
We did think at one stage he was just going to walk out and not answer any questions. Luckily, he didn't walk out, and it was a really good argument. It was actually an argument, which was good, what we're looking for.
It was brilliant. Presenting the whole programme was amazing.
I mean, I completely second that. I just had such a brilliant time today. It's just amazing. amazing. I mean, I don't think I've ever been in front of the camera so much, but I just really enjoyed it.
But there's still work to do. After viewing the on-the-day stories submitted by all the schools, the students at ITN have made their choice.
The final story we chose was Stoke Newington because it was the most well-rounded and that had a good ending, and they used a bit of information that was given to them that none of the other schools used about the Green Party.
Then it's the final edit of the Breaking the News bulletin.
So I think we're going to make 5 o'clock. I think 5:10 is more realistic. Okay.
Oh, I think there's a bit of tension in there because they've got a deadline to meet, and I don't think we're going to meet that deadline. So it's a bit of a we need to get this done, we need to get that done. But everything's going really well. Everything's done. It's just putting it together now, which is the main issue here now.
While the team wait to see if the bulletin will be edited in time, they have a visitor from the Channel 4 newsroom next door.
So, how was it? How have you done? How have you got on?
I think we've done pretty well.
Yeah.
You made sense?
Hope so.
Hope
we need
so.
we need to watch and see, I think.
Yeah. What is it you've actually made?
Just a 30-minute news bulletin, really.
30 minutes? Will there be anybody awake at the end of it? This is the future. Great stuff. Well done. Very, very nice.
While Jon Snow says his goodbyes, the news comes through that the bulletin edit's complete. They've hit the deadline.
Well done, guys. This is the finished version of it, and let's all just watch it and enjoy it now.
For the first time, the students get a chance to see their work.
Breaking the News, the only news report produced and delivered by students.
Over the last 8 weeks, students from 10 schools over the country aged between 15 to 18 have been working for...
I thought it was brilliant in the end, a lot better than I thought it would be.
It's not as easy as many people think. I mean, making a news item is really hard.
It's been really eye-opening to see what actually takes place in here at ITN.
I thought the final version of it was just so good. I can't believe they came together so well.
And at the Grays School, it's been a rewarding day too.
Definitely the most exciting parts of the project were fighting against the clock, racing to beat the deadline for the stories. And there's a sense of adrenaline that suddenly starts flowing when you realise that you've got, a certain set of time to get this story in, just as happens in the real world for anyone who works as a part of a news crew. Definitely do this project again with students. They've worked on the theoretical side of what it means, news values, and they've done the technical side, which is actually create a piece of news, and they both fit perfectly like a glove what's exactly required by the exam board. So I'd recommend this as a piece to be used by anyone who's teaching media studies GCSE.